is going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talk Sports, and I am back. We are in week 7. We are slowly and painfully getting closer to week 10, which is the week where you start to realize, holy shit, we only have 6 to 7 weeks of this NFL football being played. And listen, just cherish these weeks. And honestly, tonight's Thursday night football game reminds you why you got to cherish these weeks, because what a Thursday night football game this was. Before I get any further, like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please, it would mean a lot to me. And also follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. Follow me there at Matt Talk Sports. Now let's get into it. The first game of the Week 7 slate ended tonight. Bengals beat the Steelers 33-31. What a game! One of the best games of the year. Thursday night football has been incredible, and honestly, these primetime games have been not only incredible, but the dogs are barking. I think out of the last 8 primetime games, 7 of the underdogs won outright. Pretty remarkable stuff. What a game this was. Joey Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, some even Al Michaels were calling this game the Icy Hot Bowl. What a fucking trademark of a name that is, by the way. But anyway, Joey Flacco, 342 yards passing. I think Jamar Chase got the ball thrown his way 23 times. Joe Flacco looked unbelievable tonight, and I knew Joe Flacco was going to look good in this offense. Just throw the ball to 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL, if not certainly the best wide receiver in the NFL, and Jamar Chase. T. Higgins was incredible tonight. He was 4 yards shy of 100 yards. He could have had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns tonight if he didn't slide and make the smart play to just win the game for the Bengals. Chase Brown, who is a running back and one of the worst rushing offenses in the league, had over 100 yards tonight. Chase Brown was fantastic. This offense was great. I don't know what was more frightening, the Bengals offense or the Steelers defense, because the Steelers defense was frighteningly horrible, and then that defense made this Bengals offense without Joe Burrow look frighteningly good. So there's a lot at play here. I'm leaning towards the side of the Steelers defense being that bad, and the past 5 weeks they've been able to hide it a little bit. Um, but the Steelers defense reared its head and told you, hey, this is not a good defense. This is not your typical, prototypical Steelers defense. Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. were getting absolutely bullied the entire night by T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, you name it. And then the pressure from the Steelers defense, which is normally great. Hayward and TJ Watt, non-existent tonight. Legitimately non-existent. I know TJ Watt had a sack to end the day, but before that, non-existent. And honestly, the only reason why he got that sack was because I texted my friends in the group chat like, hey, is TJ Watt playing tonight? And he reared his head and said, hey, Matt, I'm playing tonight. So, what a game this was. This was a fucking shootout, and I love it. Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco are like a dying breed at the quarterback position, and they just showed you why they are 2 of the most pure passers of the football you'll ever see tonight, even in the year 2025. This game was great, and the drive ended up being a punt, but you knew this game was special when Joe Flacco ran a read option and took it himself and ran it for 11 yards. That was special right there. Holy shit. Joe Flacco running a read option at any point in his career, especially towards his twilight in the year 2025, and getting an 11-yard gain out of it is crazy, and that speaks volumes to Joe Flacco, the character, and to the Steelers defense, because, man, that Steelers defense was rough tonight. Listen, anyone who's buying stock in the Steelers, it's just they show you why you shouldn't have, because yes, they have this good record, but also the games they played, they reminded you how unimpressive they were. Like the Jets game, they allowed the Jets offense, which is the worst offense in the NFL. I know it was week 1, so vibes were different for the Jets, but they allowed that Jets team to score 32 points, and they allowed Justin Fields to look like a capable quarterback in the NFL, which he is not. So that right there told me everything I needed to know about tonight. I wish I made a TikTok video telling my prediction, because I really did think the Bengals were going to win this game tonight, and they did. So, I mean, the stat lines are just crazy. I mean, Jamar Chase had the ball thrown his way 23 times. He had 161 yards, 16 receptions, and 1 touchdown. I'm surprised he didn't get 2. T. Higgins, 6 for 96, 1 touchdown. Chase Brown, 11 carries, 108 yards. He averaged 10 yards a carry. And then Joe Flacco, 31 for 47, 3 touchdowns, 342 yards, and a touchdown to Noah Fant, a touchdown to Higgins, and a touchdown to Chase. Joe Flacco was brought in to do one simple thing: throw it to the 2 best receivers in the NFL, and he did that repeatedly. And Everyone knew what he was going to do the entire night on that Steelers defensive coaching staff, and guess what? He still did it. So shout out to Joe Flacco. What a game. And honestly, the Cleveland Browns, listen, I get why you traded Joe Flacco. Trading him in division is nuts, and honestly, I want to say a word for how nuts that is, but I'll get canceled. I'm not trying to get canceled. I just hit 16 subscribers on YouTube, not trying to get canceled, but man. And the Aaron Rodgers, like, he still got an arm, man. Like, it's funny because both of these rushing attacks for both offenses are like two of the worst in the NFL. And then tonight, both their running backs had over 100 yards. Jalen Warren had 16 carries for 127 yards. He was dominant tonight. It was crazy. It was crazy how dominant Chase Brown and Jalen Warren were tonight. It was really something to watch. And then Pat Fryermuth, he said, "Give me my tight end number one spot back." All right, like this is the guy that the Steelers wanted to draft. Fryermuth had the big touchdown to tie the game or go up. I forget what it was, but he had a huge touchdown at the end of this game. Pat Fryermuth, 5 receptions, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 3 for 50, 4 for 31 for Jalen Warren. And then Darnell Washington had a touchdown, and Jonnu Smith. So the tight ends, three different tight ends scored tonight. Jonnu Smith, Noah Fant, Pat Fryermuth, and Darnell Washington. By the way, Darnell Washington is ginormous. That dude is fucking huge. Like, he is just hard not to watch whenever he's on the field. That dude is ginormous. But this was an offensive game, and the best offense won. What a game. And honestly, Steelers proved to you who they are in this game. They are going to be the same team they've been for this past half decade. Plus, despite having a way better quarterback than they had in recent years, this is a worse defense. They are touted to have always one of the best defenses in the NFL. That is certainly not the case this year. Players are getting older for them. Darius Slade, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey. That is a veteran, savvy cornerback room. But at the end of the day, not good corners. I know Joey Porter Jr. is young, but Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slade Jr. not young in the slightest, and they are very, very, very veteran savvy. So I don't know if anything's fixable about the Steelers' defense, and honestly, the offense doesn't strike fear into my heart as a fellow AFC fan. So, Bengals win 33-31. I knew they were going to win. And honestly, the most shocking thing about tonight, uh, in a lot of things, first of all, the most shocking thing tonight was the Joe Flacco read option. That was sensational. But anyway, one of the most shocking things about tonight, Joe Flacco only got sacked twice tonight. Crazy. There was little to no pressure from the Steelers' defensive line against one of the worst supposed offensive lines in the NFL. So maybe this Bengals offensive line found something, or the Steelers' defensive line is getting old because you couldn't feel TJ Watt or Cameron Hayward's presence all night. You couldn't feel the pressure whether it was in the pass rush or when it came to shutting down the rush. So, what a game. Joey Flacco still has it. Unc still got it. Both of the Uncs still got it. Aaron Rodgers and Flacco both showed you they still got it. But one Unc prevailed, and it was Joey Flacco. Joey Baltimore. Man, that's crazy, man. He's been on three different AFC North teams: the Ravens, the Browns, and now the Bengals, and he has wins with all three of them. What a guy, what a quarterback. And honestly, Joey Flacco will never retire. Play into your 55, brother, because if you're going to be able to do this for a team that needs you, I'm down for it. So, the Steelers moved to 4-2. The Bengals moved to 3-4. Moving on. Let's get into this week 7 slate. Kind of a tough slate to pick. Let's get into it. We are back in London. We are getting a lot of international games this year. More than ever, it feels like. Maybe not, but it feels like it. Anyway, the LA Rams are playing an away game in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars. London is the Jacksonville Jaguars' home, and the Rams are going into this game without Puka Nacua. I'm really shocked the Rams are still favorites here. They're still -3 favorites, even with Puka Nacua being out. I'm confident here. I know the Jags are coming off a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. I knew that was coming because, one, the Seattle Seahawks defense is really good, and also the Seattle Seahawks play really great on the road compared to at home. So I knew the Jags, coming off a big win Monday night, playing a Seattle Seahawks team that is really game on defense, have really good firepower on offense. I knew that was a letdown spot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So into this game, the Jags are traveling to London, still a home game. I think the Jags win this game outright, and I don't want to say convincingly so because Stafford is a dog. McVay coaches his mind out, but I think the Rams meet their fate here in London. They lose without Puka Nacua. That offense is not as scary without him, despite Devontae Adams still being a great wide receiver. And I still think he can cause some problems with this Jacksonville Jaguars defense, but Ultimately, I think this Jags team gets it rolling, and I think they win this game outright as underdogs at home, pretty much in London. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they get home to Stafford quite a bit in this game, and I think Brian Thomas Jr. continues to have a great game in this one. He was great last week. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week. Wouldn't be surprised if he had 2 touchdowns this week. And honestly, I'm calling it right now. Here's my shot. Ted McMillan had his first 2 touchdowns last week as an NFL player. I think Travis Hunter scores a touchdown for the first time in his NFL career in this game. Travis Hunter scores in this game, and the Jacksonville Jaguars win outright in a great game to wake up at 9:32, a meaningful one. Two very good teams who will most likely both of them will make the playoffs. What a fun game compared to last week's London game. That game last week felt like the NFL was trying to get rid of international fans. So this game is way, way, way better than that game, and I think this game is going to be terrific. Maybe one of the best games of the day. I wish Puka was playing, but even without Puka, this is going to be one of the best games of the day. Wow, this is a tough game for me. This is a tough game. The Miami Dolphins moving into Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns still. Listen, he's not horrible, but he's probably the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now. One, he's a rookie, and two, you're just watching him play. Like, I think he threw the ball around 52 times last week. And listen, just not great. Jerry Jeudy's been really bad for the Cleveland Browns. This is a tough one, man. What I'm struggling with here is I really like the Miami Dolphins' weapons. Jalen Waddle, Darren Waller, Devon Achane, Malik Washington, you know, and I really am not a fan of this Browns offense outside of Quinshawn Junkins, Harold Fannin Jr., and David Njoku. However, Myles Garrett and company are on the other side. Myles Garrett is coming off a bad game, like he was non existent against the Steelers. I think that he shows up in this game, and I think against Tua Tagovailoa, that's going to be an issue. And I think the Browns are going to get to Tua Tagovailoa quite a bit in this game. And as much as I want to pick the better offense in this game, as much as I want to side with the better weapons, I think I got to side with the better coach and the coach that's more in it and a defense that is ready to roll after a bad week last week. Give me the Cleveland Browns to get this win as a favorite. I should be scared because they're -2.5 and the Dolphins are +2.5. That line feels like it should be a pick 'em, but it said it's a -2.5 Cleveland Browns. I know they're at home, but it still should feel like a pick 'em. I got the Cleveland Browns here. I just think this line is kind of telling you what's going to happen, and I trust this Cleveland Browns defense way more than I trust the offense of the Miami Dolphins, despite the Miami Dolphins having the way better weapons on offense. Tua Tagovailoa is going to have a bad day here. It really feels like that. It really feels like that. He's going to get a lot of pressure, and we all know how Tua falls under pressure. So give me the Cleveland Browns here. Dylan Gabriel gets his first win as an NFL quarterback. And also, can I say this? If Dylan Gabriel has a bad game, put in Shedeur Sanders, please. I want to see Shedeur play some ball. Not only is it good for content, but it's interesting to watch on a Sunday. Imagine Shedeur Sanders getting thrown into the fire on Sunday and he pulls out a win. How awesome would that be? That'd be awesome. I need to see that. No disrespect to Dylan Gabriel. Come on, let's see what Shedeur Sanders has, okay? All this talk, let's see what he has. This is another game that's tough to pick. The Carolina Panthers 3-3, 3-0 at home. They are 0-3 away. This is a tough game, dude. They're going into New Jersey, MetLife, to face the New Jersey Jets. The Jets are one of the worst teams in football. They're returning from London Sunday, coming back to New Jersey. They didn't get a bye. And the Panthers are -1.5. Give me the Carolina Panthers here. I mean, the New Jersey Jets are just horrible. How is anyone going to pick this game? How? What has the Jets shown you to make you pick them? They've shown you something, I guess, in the first game of the year. Hasn't looked the same, especially with Justin Fields at the helm. I guess they showed you a little bit of something in the Bucks game. They showed heart and grit, but that was Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, not Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is maybe the worst quarterback in the NFL outside of the rookies. Like Dylan Gabriel is probably the worst quarterback in the NFL because he's just a rookie, and Dylan Gabriel wouldn't change shit on the Jets at all. But I like the Carolina Panthers here, man. That rushing attack they got scares me as a Bills fan that has to face the Carolina Panthers next weekend. Rico Dowdle was hot, and then they're getting Chuba Hubbard back. And I watch how this Bills team dominated the run against the Jets defense. I think a lot of these players on the Jets are out of it now. Like they're out. What they just it's New Jersey. They're having a hard time getting up to play New Jersey week in week out. Listen, I'm going with a slightly better quarterback here in Bryce Young. I'm going with the better weapons. I'm going with the better coach team. I'm going with the more disciplined team, and I'm going with the better defense. As crazy as that might sound to you, because a lot of the players on paper for the New Jersey Jets stick out for you. Jermaine Johnson, Sauce Gardner, etc. But all those players have not been playing good at all this year. So give me the Panthers. And I think a lot of people will be picking the Jets this week because they held the Broncos to 13 points. That was a little bit more of the Broncos playing like shit than the Jets doing anything worth a note. So give me the Panthers here. This feels like a trap. I'm walking in the trap. Is it a trap? Or are the people taking the Jets walking into a trap? Because give me the Panthers. How can you bet the Jets here? How? You're talking about a guy who bet and picked the Saints two straight weeks in a row. The Saints have shown way more fight and way more talent than the Jets have shown through 7 weeks, 6 weeks. Moving on, Panthers win. Actually, I think Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard get in the end zone this week. Both of them score. They dominate the running game against the Jets this week. Moving on. I'll get a quick one out the way. The Chiefs are minus 11.5 against the Raiders in Kansas City. This feels like a little bit too much because habitually, these past few years, the Chiefs hate covering. However, the Chiefs' offense is back and the Raiders stink. I mean, they stink. Geno Smith stinks. He stinks. As much as I said all these great things about Geno heading into this year, as much as I said the Seahawks were downgrading at quarterback compared to what they had last year, I was wrong. Super wrong. And listen, the Raiders stink. Jacoby Myers wants out. Trey Tucker seems like a little bit of a dog for the Raiders, I'm not going to lie, but I love Ashton Jeanty. He's on my fantasy teams. Loved him in college, of course. Who didn't? But Rashee Rice is coming back for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs' offense is back. Of course, would I want to see the Chiefs lose this game? Yes, 1,000%. This line is minus 11.5 for a reason, and I think the Chiefs cover it and win. I think Rashee Rice gets on the board as well because all this talk, all this praise that the Chiefs management and the coaching staff has been giving Rashee Rice, especially the players, they're going to get this dude involved right away. I mean, all these weapons that the Chiefs have right now, Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Pat Mahomes playing great. Kelsey looks way better than he did last year. Chiefs win this game. They blow out the Raiders. And Geno Smith throws 2 or more picks this week. Hopefully Jeanty gets a touchdown this week because I am a fantasy owner of Ashton Jeanty. So the Chiefs win. They win in whichever way they want. Honestly, I could see them sleepwalking through this win, but I doubt it. It's hard for me to see how the Raiders score more than 10 points this week. So moving on, Chiefs win outright. They move to 4-3. Fuck the Chiefs though. Moving on. Oh boy, am I gonna do this again? Am I a sick fuck if I pick the Saints 3 weeks in a row? So let me give you a little bit of a recap. I picked the Saints against the Giants. That felt very obvious to me. And then I picked the Saints against the Patriots. That was a close game, closer than people expected. However, the Patriots should have won by way more. The refs were hoeing, absolutely hoeing the Patriots. The Patriots should have won by like 11, similar to what the Bills did. But I actually think the Saints are not bad. I actually think the Saints are pretty goddamn good, relatively. I mean, they're good compared to the other one-win teams. Bears coming off a crazy comeback win, a miraculous comeback win. If Jaden Daniels slash Merritt don't fumble the ball on the exchange in a wetty football game, the Commanders probably win. Huge game. Ben Johnson seemingly has revived this Bears offense, and this Bears offense looks good. Caleb Williams had an up and down game Monday night, but he made some big plays. DeAndre Swift is coming off his best game as a Chicago Bear, maybe. He was very good. I will say this. The more I talk about this game, the less confident I would feel taking the Bears. And listen, Bears probably win this game. So I'm not going to say this thing where Saints will win this game outright like I did with the Giants and the Patriots. As much as I want to say the Saints are going to win this game outright, plus 4.5 is too much for me. I think the Saints have some interesting weapons, whether it's Kendre Miller, Kamara, Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Juwan Johnson. I actually been Spencer Rattler's been playing pretty good, and I don't think this Bears defense is that great. However, Ben Johnson, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, a seemingly way better offensive line for the Bears. The only thing that I'm not confident in here is the Bears defense. So, can the Bears not turn over the ball this week? Because if they turn over the ball, this sets up the Saints for a win. So I'm not going to pick the Saints out right here. I'm not. However, I do like the Saints team. Carl Grandison and company on that defense. Justin Reed and company on that defense. Kellen Moore making these boys fight week in, week out. Give me the Saints plus 4.5. I'm not ballsy enough to pick the Saints outright 3 weeks in a row, but I will tell you this. I will not be surprised if the Saints win this game at all in the slightest. And honestly, don't be surprised if I bet this team outright 15 minutes before game time because one, this is a letdown spot for the Bears. If the Bears are still the Bears, they lose this game. I think the Bears aren't the Bears still. This is a new regime, a new team, fresher franchise than in the past. So I think the Bears will find a way to win, but I think the Saints cover this plus 4.5. I think this is like a 3 point game. 20-17, 27-24, something along those lines. Give me the fucking Saints plus 4.5, but Bears probably win outright. Would not be surprised if the Saints win though. I think Rattler continues to impress all the opposing fans that he plays week in, week out. Because honestly, Bills fans said he wasn't bad after the Bills win. Patriots fans said he wasn't that bad after they beat him. Giants fans were like, hey, this guy's not bad. And I think the Bears might say, hey, this guy's not bad. So, Saints cover. Bears probably win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints win, but moving on. Another tough game. Wow. So apparently JJ McCarthy's going to get the start in this game, which is pretty big. Because honestly, if Carson Wentz was starting this game, one, is a revenge game against the Eagles, and two, I think I might be a little bit more confident in picking the Vikings, but I think I'm going to pick the Eagles here. Just because JJ McCarthy is starting, and it's not anything against JJ McCarthy, he's just a rookie. And despite this Eagles defense not looking great recently, and despite them losing to a rookie quarterback in the prior week to Jackson Dart and company, that is an in-division opponent. And at the end of the day, the Giants are a bad team, but it's in-division. I mean, in-division teams will play in-division teams pretty goddamn well. And in that case, the Giants won outright. Listen, as much as I want to be like the Vikings win here, I just don't see it. I really don't. I think JJ McCarthy is just too green, and I think the Eagles bounce back. There's a lot of pressure on them this year. There's been a lot of shit talked to the Eagles this year, rightfully so. The Eagles are a Super Bowl winning team. I mean, that's just who they are. And watching them play this season has been weird, especially what you've been hearing from all these random quotes from the locker room. A player who remains unnamed says this team feels like the 2023 team. It feels ready to implode. The difference with the 2023 team and this year is that this team, almost the exact same roster, won a Super Bowl last year. You should not feel the exact same way as that 2023 team did. Yes, I compared this team to the 2023 team, but to hear it from a player is honestly ludicrous and it's absurd. So, listen, the Vikings defense is very good. Very well coached. Brian Flores is a great coach. I should be picking the Vikings here. They are a really well coached team, defensively, offensively. Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores. They have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason, J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, a decent O-line, a banged-up O-line, but a decent O-line. And then their defense is really good. Isaiah Rodgers and company. That's a great defense. I just refuse to believe that the Eagles don't get back on track here. They are kind of facing the same fate as my Buffalo Bills at the moment, despite the Buffalo Bills not being last season's Super Bowl winner. But I think the Eagles get right back on track here. I think it might be easy to pick the Vikings here for a lot of people. I think people will be like, Vikings coming off a bye. Eagles look dysfunctional. It's in Minnesota. Hard place to play. Give me the Vikings. I'm picking the Eagles to get back on track here. Eagles need this win. Yes, the Vikings are on a bye, but the Eagles are on 10 days of rest here. I think the Eagles as -2.5 favorites win this game outright. I think A.J. Brown gets in the end zone. I think you see a lot more creativity from this Eagles offense. I think you see a lot more fight from this Eagles defense. And I think Saquon has the best game of his season so far. Give me the Eagles outright. They get back on track this week against a rookie quarterback, seemingly. Give me the Eagles. They get right back on track here. Moving on. The New England Patriots, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. AFC East, number one placeholder. Wow. Listen, the Patriots have been impressive. Um, they did really well against the Saints. Drake May looked really great against the Saints. He had 2 touchdowns taken off the board. He looked great last week against the Saints team that is very underrated. Brian Callahan, no longer the head coach in Tennessee. The Patriots are going into Tennessee. It's Mike Vrabel's revenge game. And listen, I just love the stats. And listen, people are going to say this is me hating because I'm a Bills fan and I want the Patriots to lose. Of course, I want the Patriots to lose. I want the Bills to get back in the first place of the AFC East. But is Callahan not being the coach here going to make that much of a difference? I know Callahan was the worst head coach in the NFL. He deserved to be fired. He was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Did the team give up on him? I think that might be the case. Despite that wild comeback against the Arizona Cardinals, I do think they gave up on him, and I do think the covering stats as underdogs when you just fired your head coach are very interesting. I don't have them on me right now, but I think the Patriots win this game, but I think the Titans covered the +7. It really is just me going with the train of this team just fired their head coach. They're going to play hard for their interim head coach, and they're going to look way better. And yes, this is a revenge game for Mike Vrabel. He got fired. This is also a revenge game for the Tennessee Titans. Like, hey, we fired you for a reason. So, listen, I know Cam Warren is horrible. I know the Patriots have looked really great this year. I'm probably going to look like an idiot here, and it's fine. The Patriots are going to win this game outright. I hope they don't, but they probably will. But I do think the Titans cover this game, and I don't think that's necessarily crazy to think, but I think the Titans win this game, and there's really no merit for me to say that. But I will say this, Stephon Diggs hasn't had a touchdown in 2 weeks, or I don't think even the whole season. I think he scores a touchdown in this game. Diggs scores a touchdown, Titans cover, moving on. The New York Giants are heading into Denver, heading into altitude after a huge win against the Philadelphia Eagles, 34-17. They dominated the Eagles. They're off 10 days rest. The Broncos are coming back from London. Pretty much little to no rest. They had 5 days of rest at least, but they're coming back from London. They didn't have a bye week. They come off a really, really ugly win against the New York Jets. And listen, every smart person or able person should be picking the Giants here to cover +7. They're on 10 days rest. They're coming off a huge win. The vibes are high with Jackson Dart, Cam Scattaboo. The young guys are lifting up this organization. However, I don't know if Jackson Dart is ready to face this Denver Broncos defense. Yes, the Broncos only won by 2 points against the New Jersey Jets last week. That is true. However, that Broncos defense looked incredible. They had 9 sacks against Justin Fields. Justin Fields is horrible. However, that offensive line for the Jets is actually a good offensive line. They've been playing really good this year, and they still let through 9 sacks. So, with that being said, give me the Denver Broncos at home in altitude, and this is a letdown spot for the Giants. Give me the Broncos. They cover this game. I think their defense dominates. I think Nick Bonito continues to have a stellar season. He might walk away with 2 sacks at least in this game. And he continues to make a case for him being the Defensive Player of the Year when things are all said and done for this NFL season. I actually think Bo Nix has a redemption game this week. I think he has a big game. He might even run in for a touchdown this week. Do not be surprised if this dude scampers in for the first touchdown of this game. So, give me the Denver Broncos. I think they'll be able to run the ball pretty goddamn good. I think this offensive line for the Broncos is really goddamn good. And at the end of the day, this Denver Broncos defense will shut down the New York Giants this week. I'm going to call my shot here. I think the Giants score less than 7 points this week. And that might be insulting the Giants fans. I get it. You guys look great against the Eagles. This Broncos defense is legit, and they're going to shut down this Giants offense. Give me the Broncos, -7. Moving on. This is another weird game. The Colts are heading into Los Angeles to face the Chargers. The Colts got lucky, maybe started looking too far ahead in the second half against the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett and in his own revenge game, and they snuck out a victory against the Cardinals last week. And listen, Jacoby Brissett had a huge day against the Colts, had a really great day. The Colts are heading into LA, facing a better quarterback, a way greater quarterback, and Justin Herbert. However, this LA Chargers O line is banged up, very banged up. And listen, they don't have their two starting running backs. Omarion Hampton is out on IR, and Najee Harris is out for the year. So they're going to go with Vidal, who looked great this past week at over 100 rushing yards. He looked really good. However, I'm fucking with the Colts. I think this Colts team is actually pretty good. I expected them to meet their fate this season, but honestly, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, and honestly, this wide receiving core for this Colts team is sneaky underrated. Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Doolin, Adonai Mitchell. Like, this is a good fucking team. I really like this offense for the Colts. And yes, I think the Chargers defense is good. I don't know if it's good enough to stop this Colts team enough times to win this game. And honestly, yes, this Colts defense is not great. I do think they're opportunistic, and I think they will find themselves turning the ball over and getting key turnovers to win this game for the Colts. However, would I be surprised if Daniel Jones does have a pick or two this game? No. And would I be surprised if those picks or two cost them this game? No, I wouldn't, because at the end of the day, Daniel Jones has been really great this year. He's been stellar. However, he's Daniel Jones. We know who Daniel Jones is, and even if he has a great first year for the Colts, I'm gonna have to see the second year from him to really make me believe in him fully, like other people are starting to right now. But at the end of the day, despite the Chargers having Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson, I think the health of the O line is huge here. And I think the health at running back is huge here, despite Vidal having a great week last week. So, give me the Colts here. Give me Jonathan Taylor. Give me Tyler Warren. Give me Michael Pittman. Give me Alec Pierce. Give me Josh Downs. I think this Colts offense is really goddamn good. And I think this goes over. We saw weaker offenses, in my opinion, in the Commanders and other teams dominate the Chargers on defense, despite the Chargers defense being good and well coached and well disciplined. I think the Colts is one of the better offenses this Chargers team has faced all year, and I think the Colts win this game outright on the road as dogs heading into LA. And don't be surprised if the Indianapolis Colts fans show up in force in LA to support their Indianapolis Colts. This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. Give me the Indianapolis Colts winning outright on the road, heading into LA. Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, and his pack get it done here. Give me the Colts. Give me Shane Steichen and that fucking electric team. Give me the Colts here. Moving on. Listen, the Cardinals almost won that game outright against the Colts last week. Packers almost almost got into a close battle with Joe Flacco last week, and we see how great Joey Flacco is under this Bengals offense. I think the Bengals covering that game is more so on the Bengals and how funky and gritty this offense is at the moment compared to, the Packers who might have overlooked the Bengals at that point in time. But does lightning strike twice? Is Jacoby Brissett going to be capable this week again? Is he going to show out like he did last week? I think Marvin Harrison is questionable heading into this game. Same with Kyler Murray. Both of these dudes might not play. And I think one of them plays, one of them doesn't. I'm leaning towards Kyler missing the game and Marvin Harrison missing the game as well. But I think this is a pretty simple game for me to pick. I know it's on the road, and I know I probably should be picking plus 6.5 Cardinals after that great effort they showed last week. But give me the Packers minus 6.5. I think Micah has a big day. I think this defense has a big day, and I think they almost shut out this Cardinals team. And I think honestly, this Packers offense has their way. I think Will Johnson's a really impressive rookie. I wish the Bills drafted him. And I also think Buda Baker is a stellar player. But give me the Packers outright minus 6.5 here. I think the Packers win this game. They cover, and I think their defense dominates. And I think this offense continues to look pretty goddamn good. I think J-Lo continues to have a really good year. Josh Jacobs has been really effective, not only in the rushing game these past 2 weeks, but in the receiving game. So give me the Green Bay Packers minus 6.5. Cardinals, they had a really, really, really interesting game last week, but that doesn't keep up. And at the end of the day, the Cardinals started off relatively hot. We all know how the Cardinals end up. They end up fizzling out. We saw with the Titans game that absolutely astonishing comeback by the Titans, all due to the Cardinals play. That's going to be them for the rest of the year. This is not a good team, and they showed it to you in that Titans game. They're going to show it to you again. Packers win this game in a blowout. You want to talk about a tough game, man? Apparently, CeeDee Lamb's going to be back for this game, so that changes things. Cowboys +1 away at home, facing the Commanders team that just lost a big game Monday night against the Chicago Bears. Rather miraculously so. I mean, the Commanders kind of blew that game more than the Bears won it. Cowboys coming off a loss to the Panthers, who are 3-0 at home. They fell to the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Cowboys back at home in the big house in Dallas, in the dome that Jerry built. Give me the Dallas Cowboys here. I am actually buying in on the Cowboys here. I think the Cowboys win this game outright as dogs. CeeDee Lamb is back. We get this week CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Javonte Williams, and company. Dak Prescott playing the best football of his career. And listen, Jaden Daniels, a great quarterback, a ridiculously good quarterback, a ridiculously talented quarterback. I don't trust his receiving core for the Commanders. Listen, I really like Terry McLaurin, and he might even be back this week. I'm not even too sure if he's going to be back this week, and I'm pretty sure he's not. But even if he's there, this receiving core is not great to me. If he's not there, this receiving core is definitely not great, because if he is there, it's going to be Debo, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Lane and company, which is more than capable of doing the job. And honestly, Luke McCaffrey had his showing out game last week against the Bears. But I think the most solidified bet of this game, if I had to pick it, is the over 54.5. That is a lot for an over in the NFL, but both of these teams are not great on defense. One, the Commanders are really well coached on defense, so it gets them by for the most part. The Cowboys are just not good on defense. They have one of the worst defenses ever. So the Commanders will be able to score at will against the Cowboys, but I think this is a shootout, and I'm trusting the most high-powered offense and the most consistent offense. Give me the Cowboys. I think Dak continues to have a great season, and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb probably going to bust up this Commanders secondary quite a bit. So, honestly, I'm going to say this, though. I have the Cowboys winning. If the Commanders want to win this game, it's with long possessions and running the ball down the Cowboys defense's throat. I think Bill Merritt and company and Jaden Daniels will be really effective running the ball here. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of these receivers outside of Debo Samuel, who's been really great this year, strike fear into your heart as a defensive coordinator. Terry McLaurin is great, but he's been injured this year. So give me the Cowboys outright, +108 at home in Jerry World. Cowboys win outright. Dak continues to be great. And Pickens and Lamb, how can you pick against them at the moment? Moving on. The Falcons are heading into San Francisco after a huge win against the Buffalo Bills. They're +1.5, +108 for this game. And honestly, this is a huge game if you're a Falcons fan. One of the biggest wins we've had in a while against the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, the Falcons impressed me. Penix impressed me. Drake London, who I knew was great, but he impressed the shit out of me. He dominated us. And then Bijan Robinson is the best running back in football. He is electrifying. And honestly, this Falcons offensive line is really goddamn good. However, as bad as the Bills defense was to start that game, they were horrible. They couldn't stop a rock. The Bills lost that game because of the Bills offense and due to the Falcons blitz. The Bills could not stop the Falcons blitz at all. No matter how hard they tried, Josh Allen could not stop that blitz. The offensive coordinator and Joe Brady could not stop that blitz. And that was the main reason why the Bills lost that game. And honestly, I'm impressed with the Falcons. Their offensive weapons and their defensive weapons. Their defense is actually pretty goddamn good. They have good corners. They blitz insanely. They have the highest blitz rate in the league. I really, really like this Falcons team. I like their defense. Despite Penix, I said he was bad for the Bills game. I think any quarterback on this Falcons team could have done what they did to the Bills defense. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that Penix performance, but Penix was great. And listen, I think they're heading into a similar situation. The Bills are they're banged up. Don't get me wrong, Terrell Bernard went down, but this 49ers defense is way more banged up. It's the most banged up team in the NFL. I'm kind of shocked that they're favorites in this game. And honestly, that's usually a sign of that line telling you how this game is going to play out. I'm not doing that this week. I'm not doing that this week. I think the Falcons win this game outright. I think they have the better weapons. They're the healthier team. And despite me not thinking they are not the better coach team, I'm picking Raheem Morris and the Falcons. Raheem Morris actually kind of impressed me quite a bit coaching-wise last week against the Bills. I think he outcoached Sean McDermott, which might not be a huge feat, but Raheem Morris was great, and I think Jeff Ulbrich is a goddamn good DC. You almost forget that his son was prank calling other NFL teams on draft night. So I think the Falcons win this game. I think the 49ers losing Nick Bosa is one thing, but losing your rock, Fred Warner, for the season is another thing. Brock Purdy is back, so their offense is going to be a lot healthier. CMC versus Bijan Robinson on Sunday Night Football. Sign me up. Um, I think this is, despite this Falcons defense being really good, I think this might be a shootout because of how talented Kyle Shanahan is as an offensive play caller and just as a head coach. And I wouldn't be surprised if this 49ers defense plays great without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner because at the end of the day, this is a well coached team. And Robert Saleh, not a good head coach at all, but he's a goddamn great DC. So this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be a three-score game. I'm just going to take the dog here in Atlanta Falcons. I think they have the better weapons, and I think their defense is goddamn good, and they are the healthier team. Give me the Falcons out right here. And would I be shocked if the 49ers win this game? No, because they're a greatly head coach team, and they have CMC and Brock Purdy and George Kittle back, seemingly. So give me the Falcons. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not confident in this, but I like the Falcons here quite a bit. And yeah, Falcons win this game outright. I'm surprised they're a dog. And usually that tells you something, but I am seemingly falling into the trap. Give me the Falcons here. Like I said, to start the show, 7 of the past 8 primetime games, the underdog has won outright. So give me the Falcons, and that moves to 8 out of the last 9 primetime games that the underdog has won outright. The Falcons win this game. Moving on. Now, there are 2 Monday night games, and I love how they staggered this. One at 7, one at 10. If you are complaining about this, you just don't love football. But I will break them down today in this episode. Um, so let's get into it. I'm not too sure what the status of Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka is this week. I'm pretty sure Emeka Egbuka is out for quite a bit of time, and I think Chris Godwin's not going to play. But I think Mike Evans is back. I'm gonna be honest here. I love the Tampa Bay Bucks. I picked them to make the Super Bowl. I think the Lions win this game pretty easily. I think the Buccaneers are banged up. No Bucky Irvin, no Emeka Egbuka, and no Chris Godwin. They will have Rashad White, Mike Evans, K. Dot, and Sterling Shepard, and Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, but the Lions are fired up. I know they're going to be without Brian Branch because he got suspended after punching Juju Smith-Schuster after the Chiefs lost last week, but give me the Lions here. I think the Lions kind of dominate this game in Detroit Monday night, 7 o'clock. I think the Lions dominate this game quite easily. Give me the Lions. I think their defense is going to be on fire, and I think Baker Mayfield throws 2 picks at least in this game. I love Baker. He should be the MVP favorite, but give me the Lions bounce back win after a big loss against the Chiefs last Sunday. Lions win this game, and they prove to you that they are probably the best team in the NFC regular season wise. I will favor the Bucks playoff when they get more healthy at running back and wide receiver, but give me the Detroit Lions. And also, that Bucks O line, one of the best O lines in the NFL. Particularly, they have the best O line in the NFL and Tristan Wirfs, but they're kind of banged up in the guard position. So give me the Detroit Lions. They win this game outright and they cover -5.5. Moving on. This is a tough one for me because I love the Seahawks. I love the Seahawks. The Seahawks are -3.5 in Seattle playing the Houston Texans. On one hand, the Texans O line is really bad and their offense is just not good. They can barely run the ball. Their run game is inconsistent. On the other hand, the Seahawks defense is really good. Great secondary, really well coached defense. And I think Byron Murphy is returning for them as well. If he wasn't out, then I'm mixing him up with another player, maybe Devondre Sweat on the Titans. But I do think the Seahawks are getting healthier on defense this week, despite them being really dominant in the Jaguars game this past Sunday. However, despite the Texans' O-line being really bad, despite their offense being bad, this Texans' defense is really goddamn great. And I know how well the offense with the Seahawks has been. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been arguably the best receiver in the NFL outside of Jamar Chase this year. And then they have Kenny Walker, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Barner, Elijah Araujo, and they have Sam Darnold, who's been out of his mind. However, the Seahawks are really bad at home. They seemingly find ways to lose games at home. I was going into the season thinking the Seattle Seahawks are going to turn things around in Seattle at home. The 12th man is going to reign supreme for the first time in a while at home this year. That is not the case, and they're telling you that every time they play in Seattle. They won against the Saints in Seattle in a dominant victory. The Saints were just overmatched. Bad matchup for the Saints. But they lost to the Bucks and to the 49ers at home in ways they shouldn't have. That 49ers game, I still am confused how they lost that game. And then the Bucks game, Sam Darnold threw a bad pick to give the game to the Bucks to win on a field goal. The Texans defense is really goddamn great, and the CJ Stroud coming off a bye, their offense looked pretty goddamn good the week before heading into the bye. So I'm gonna do this. I like the Seahawks more. I've been pretty harsh on the Texans heading into this year, but I am taking the Texans to win this game outright as a dog. They moved to 3-3 off a bye, and the Seahawks continue to struggle at home. They will be 1-3 at home this year after this loss. So that is alarming. Despite how well they've looked on offense and how well they looked on defense, they just find ways to lose at home. And I am taking the Houston Texans to win this game outright, and that is one of my most confident picks of the week. I think the Texans win that game, and I think CJ Stroud kind of silences the doubters right now. He'd be like, hey, buddy, you're saying Bryce Young might be closing the gap? Nope, he's not. Texans win this game outright. So, here are my picks for the full Week 7 slate. No Bills football, thank God. As much as I love watching the Bills and how much, they mean to me and how much I love them, the Bills have been playing poor football. I'm just glad I get a week without them. So, here are my picks for Week 7. Jaguars win outright as dogs in London at home. Um, Chiefs cover -11.5 at home against the Raiders. Browns beat the Dolphins at home -2.5 favorites. As much as I want to pick the Dolphins, I'm picking the Browns. Titans cover the +7 against the Patriots, despite this being Vrabel's revenge game. Panthers going to New Jersey and beat the Jets to move it to 4-3, and the Jets move to 0-7. The Saints cover +4.5 against the Chicago Bears in Chicago after a big win for the Chicago Bears. Eagles get back on track. They cover -2.5 and win against the Vikings in Minnesota. The Colts go into LA and beat the LA Chargers in a big win. They move to 6-1. Chargers move to 4-3. The Giants, after a big win against Philadelphia in New Jersey, head into Denver. Denver wins that game outright and they cover -7.5. Packers heading in Arizona. Packers win this game outright and they cover -6.5. Cowboys winning a shootout. Hopefully a shootout. 425 game. But love to see a shootout. Cowboys win that game, getting CeeDee Lamb back. They win that game as an underdog in Jerry World. And then the Falcons head into San Francisco and beat the banged up 49ers after a huge win against the Buffalo Bills last Monday night. And then the Lions beat the Buccaneers. They move to 5-2. Buccaneers fall to 5-2. The Buccaneers are just too banged up for me right now. Give me the Lions. They win this game convincingly, maybe even in a blowout. Moving on, the Texans head into Seattle and move to 3-3. They beat the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seattle Seahawks 4-4-3, and they continue to struggle at home. So those are all my picks for this Week 7 slate. It's a big slate. It's an interesting one, and boys, cherish these weeks because we are in Week 7 and we are inching closer to Week 10, which is the week where you start to think, holy shit, we only have 7 weeks left. So cherish these weeks. It's going to be a fun week. Sit on your couch, and hopefully you're listening to this. And if you made it this far, comment. Let me know how you feel about my picks. Comment and let me know how you feel about me and how you felt looking at this face for the past 40 minutes or so. So it is your boy, Matt Talk Sports. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports, TikTok, Instagram, and comment, like, and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And hopefully this community continues to build. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Matt Talks Films if you want some film content. And also, follow me at Matt Talks Films everywhere at Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It is your boy. I will be seeing you Monday night, hopefully, recapping the full Week 7 slate. I will be recapping the full Week 7 slate without Monday night's games. I will be recapping those games on TikTok or in a shorter form video on YouTube. It is your boy Matt Talk Sports, and guess what? I'll see you Monday.